As the 1950s began, a young manga artist, Shotaro Onodera, submitted his work to a contest at Manga Shonen magazine, leading to his first job as an art assistant to the legendary Osamu Tezuka on one of his most popular works, Astro Boy. He later went on to make his professional debut as a manga creator with Ninki Tenchi, or Second Class Angel. His work was published under the pseudonym of Ishinomori, a misprint that would retain for the next 30 years before adopting the Ishinomori he had always intended. His early work included manga for the girls' market, even including early examples of sci-fi stories targeted towards women. An example of one of his shoujo work was Mutant Sabu in 1961. After its run, Mutant Sabu wouldn't just fade with time though. As the years went on, the story of Mutant Sabu gradually evolved. Ishinomori later made it into a one-shot called Mutant X, later retitled X Shirei, until it finally got a complete reboot in 1965 in Weekly Shonen Sunday. Mutant Sabu details the adventures of a young man named Sabu, whose psychic powers are awakened after getting into a car accident. From here we see Sabu get thrust into a multitude of situations where his powers come into play. He's recruited to become a secret agent, he fights evil Santas, he fights terrorist organizations and mad scientists, and he even ends up in another dimension. Some of the plots feature Ishinomori's commentary on social issues such as anti-war and moral ethics. You can see clearly Ishinomori really loved the character of Sabu and had fun applying him to many fun and creative scenarios. Throughout the plot we see Ishinomori play around with Sabu's powers, but also Shotaro Ishinomori's definition of a hero. Sabu uses his great psychic power for good, which could easily be used for destruction and evil. He's even provoked on several occasions by gangs. But to Ishinomori, heroes must make sacrifices and use their given power to keep what little hope remains in the world, which can apply to many of his works preceding this. The series did well, even winning the Kodansha Children's Manga Award, along with Shotaro Ishinomori's most popular work, Cyborg 009. But it later moved on to Bokura magazine. Once the manga moved magazines, it became more episodic with less overarching plots and feels more like Ishinomori adding Sabu to whatever story he felt like. So in one story, Sabu would be a pirate, he'd be a caveman, and he would even cross over with other Ishinomori characters. It's not a bad thing, but it's just a clear shift in direction. Shotaro Ishinomori was considered a prodigy at his time and was influenced by the work of Osamu Tezuka. Mutant Sabu itself is very panel-heavy, but it allows for some creative layouts and art. A lot of interesting designs like the scientists and the giant robot cockpit, and a lot of cool composition and lighting. Ishinomori has always been really versatile and experimental in his manga, so the art's very much one of the highlights of it. Like a lot of Ishinomori manga, he blends cartooning with beauty, and it looks really nice. Mutant Sabu was not only an important stepping stone in Shotaro Ishinomori's career, but on the state of anime and manga as a whole. Psychics and espers have always been a popular element in many stories since, but Mutant Sabu was the first manga character to display psionic or psychic powers. Sabu was the first Ishinomori hero in general and the first to display psychic powers, which would serve as the foundation for his later works like Genma Tyson, Inazuman, and many others. The character of Sabu would even show up in his other works, sometimes in just name only, or as the original Mutant Sabu, even showing up as recently as in Genma Tyson Rebirth. Like it wasn't enough, the Mutant Sabu originally series actually got a reboot in 1980 in the Custom Comic magazine, this time aimed at a more older audience. You can tell how much Ishinomori loved this character. He's the archetype of all his male heroes. There's tons of Mutant Sabu lookalikes in his works. Shotaro Ishinomori passed away in 1998. He actually won the world record for most comics published by one author and is often regarded a legend in the manga industry. I feel that Mutant Sabu was that point in time where he finally found his footing, and without it, the many heroes that have spawned from the original idea of the character Sabu would not exist like they do today.